Nikuang tafkiuma asquali umapiuyaf ni ngemnayak ovin halaiti umumhisabot. So valti ni ka italabaihin itamput paangwan to tanikat akalan to tanikat uvi. By ovi nehita umumi matak nak sempi itamput akpiu mong vasto tinisoso yama asquali. Good evening, and thank you. Thank you for the invitation to join you at your language preservation boot camp tonight. I'm really, really happy to be here with you and really thank Keith for inviting me here to share with you maybe some resources that you might be able to utilize through our new West Regional Native American Language Resource Center at the University of Arizona. So I'm going to do a presentation on what we have been doing and what we hope to offer to all of you who are interested in collaborating with us and contacting us. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint that I've prepared for you for tonight. First, I want to introduce myself to you as a Hopi person from my community of Smopavi, and I'll do this in my language. I provide the English interpretation of what I'm saying to you so that you can follow along. Nu Sheilah Nicholas, yan ni tiwi yung University of Arizona, F ni kyang piu Tucson, apek ni kyang napiu hopisino ni ka obi panwat umaminama tatnani. Nu kotahon mana yan hopi matsewa. Ikatsimyu pam hunwangwa ni ka pat tingni ni maka no wimkete mo ovi katsinvake udnus kalwangwa no sangopangak sino inga muyi yan matsiwa pam kalwangwa u ahila ina pam ikoswangwa ni kyang itsay niya ka because hainam pam kwangwan ang put akongya at Milton Nicholas pam iswanga puma ni piwang na COVID puma piu inam pu ingam ya piu penyu takam pam sukyawa Louis Tiwanima bunuta pam piu ina ispi pam ikosmwa pu aklave tungwa pam ingame naam ni ka obi piu kwa ikwa. I also want to acknowledge that the work that I do and that work that I'm presenting to you tonight is all undertaken at the University of Arizona in Tucson, located on the traditional lands of the To'ono'otam and the Pasquayaki. And I also want to be very thankful and grateful for the invitation to speak to you on your own homelands as well. So my work at the West Regional Native American Language Resource Center is what I'll be presenting on tonight. I also wanted to express that I hope or I understand with the idea of a boot camp that it's going to be a pretty intense night, but I hope it's intense with lots of laughter and fun as well. Our languages are very healing, and in that way, we benefit from it in our well-being. So I want to offer that to you in terms of also participating with you tonight, even though it's virtually. So a little bit of background history on this center and how it came to be. The Office of Indian Ed is where our funding comes from, so it's federal money. But interestingly enough, it loops back to 1991, 92, where ALDI was involved in creating the Native American Languages Act, which was first passed in 1991. And the purpose of that was to support establishing and strengthening and operating one or more Native American language resource centers. But as you can see, it was a long time in coming because this act was passed again in 1991 and also reauthorized in 1992. So in 2022, then a return to this history of support came through the Native American Language Resource Center Act. And that one is explained as a bill or a law that was passed by Congress to reemphasize the support in the use of Native American languages as a medium of instruction for children of all ages or learners of all ages in various academic content areas and types of schools, including Native American language medium education, which we know as immersion schools. So that law is very recent, but it also gave rise to the centers that I'm going to be presenting on tonight. ALDI was one of the ones who responded to the call for proposal in 2023. And fortunately, it was one of the recipients of the funding, along with 3 other regional centers and a national center. So altogether, there are 4 regional centers, one in the Southwest, one in the Pacific West, one in the Midwest, and then the national center. So altogether 4. So on this map, it helps to visualize this with the logos that I use. So for example, the University of Arizona logo is located at the University of Arizona in Southern Arizona. And it also identifies 3 other states in the region where language efforts are to be designated for our support, and that's in Utah, Nevada, and California. In the Pacific West, with the O, the Neely, which is similar to ALDI, and actually, Neely grew out of their experience of their language workers coming to ALDI. So they created their own institute, which is still ongoing in their work at the University of Oregon. So like ALDI, which is located at a university, the Pacific West, Neely, is also located in a university. Their designated states are those that you see in the Pacific West, including Alaska. And then the Midwest is the center there is being established through the Little Priest College, and their logo is there in the Midwest. And they're serving a number of states, in comparison, 6 states versus Neely's 5 and Arizona's 4. And then the National Center is located in Hawaii at the University of Hawaii in Hilo, to be exact. But they also have 2 partner sites, one way up there in the north Midwest, which is Lacourdway Ojibwe University, and then one in Alaska as well at the University of Alaska Southeast. So these are the 3 regions that are currently being established. We're all in year 2 of a 5-year grant. And from the get-go, we have been collaborating with each other by having monthly meetings to share what we're doing, how we can consolidate our resources and service so that other language programs who don't have a regional center can also be provided service. So we're blurring the regional lines by working together collectively. So in particular, the West Regional Center at the University of Arizona is currently established. We have a physical location in the College of Education on the 5th floor with 3 offices as spaces. And we have our team now. Currently, it's comprised of Dr. Ophelia Zepeda, who is the grant PI, and myself, who was named the project director, of a position that I welcome and I'm very humbled and honored to serve in. Hired in year 2, project manager, Dr. Adrian Zaikiwa, who is from Zuni, and graduate assistant Mateo Pomilia, who is a NAMA, a graduate student in the linguistics program of NAMA. And he was in a course with me and has decided to commit himself to this. So from the get-go, he's been working with me as a student. And then for year 2, he was actually an employee. So he's a member of the team. I'm thankful for his service. He's graduating this semester, so unfortunately can't be an employee team member, but he has committed to volunteering in any way he can. So I'm really grateful for that. So overall, the Resource Center at the U of A is working on 4 goals, and you can see these pictured in the boxes at the bottom. The first one, the red box, has been something that Aldi has been providing since 1978. So our center is just building on that and expanding on that. And in particular, central to that work has been support and advocacy, training and tech assistance, and consultation and support. So we're continuing that work. But the goal is we understand very well in the language work that's going on in all Native communities for their languages has been a lot of gaps. They're not getting a lot of the services that they need. Possibly they don't have the infrastructure that is needed and critical. And this impacts all the opportunities for language teaching, learning that is possible. So we want to address those gaps. We already have partnerships with the 3 tribal colleges in Arizona. So that is Diné College in the north, San Carlos Apache Community College, and Totonatam Community College. Those 3 have been in existence, with San Carlos being the newest, but they have focus on Indigenous language learning and teaching. So we are supporting their efforts and providing additional support as they need it. And overall, we're trying to expand on all of this work by offering or working towards designing certificate programs in language immersion, mentor-apprentice teaching and learning, and native language revitalization, and then continued overall advocacy, especially for those in school-based programs. So these are the 4 areas that our center is working to address in our 5-year grant. And again, I mentioned earlier that we're in year 2. So the first year was spent looking for the physical space, hiring the staff, and putting a process into place to start working towards these goals. I think one of the things that we found, which was the greatest challenge for us immediately, was that we have 4 states that have been assigned to us essentially, or that we're linked to through the grant, but there are many, many languages and many, many language programs ongoing already, and many more that need to be established. So looking at all that, how do we begin to address the gaps for those? So thinking about that, we had to come up with a way to find out what it is, maybe what is common across needs, and what are the resources we currently have to provide those services, and then to work on creating new kinds of resources. So the process that we decided to use was something called a QR code. First of all, we had to find out who and where those programs were in those states and who was managing them. And so I attended a lot of conferences in year one. I continue to do that. Word of mouth, people coming through Aldi. But one of the most effective ways has been to have this QR code that you see on the right-hand side there. So through that QR code, it links you to the two images that you see on the left, and you can provide your contact information, name, address, and all of that so that we can contact you. And then initially, we just asked you briefly to highlight some areas that are currently something that you need in your programming. When we get that information, then the next step is that our program manager will schedule a consultation coffee chat over Zoom with you in order to find out a little bit more, well, maybe not a little bit more, maybe a lot more about your program, and to find out what you need and how we can help you. So I would encourage all of you to take a picture of that QR code and encourage you to fill it out, and we will be able to contact you and work with you directly. So I think that's been one of the most effective ways for us to make contact with individuals who are representing language programs. In our initial efforts through the QR code, we were starting to realize, I think we went into it primarily with a good sense of needs. There's a lot of needs, but sometimes it's very difficult for language programs to focus on and prioritize or clearly determine what it is that they need. It's just not easy. This is a big project that we are all undertaking, and to be able to talk about it with others, it helps us to really identify more clearly what it is that we need and what we need to go to move us all forward in this work. So knowing that, we identified those ideas in the black lettering there that you see on this process, and that it helps us go over to the green side, where our coffee chat consultations, we can identify more clearly the needs and how we can help. If we can't help from our specific center, like I said before, we've been collaborating with all the other centers. We will facilitate support through them, and maybe it is through referral, or looking for experts from those areas that we can share. So that is in the blue font. And again, all of us are moving towards the ones in the orange font, which is gaps that still exist that might be a little bit more challenging for us, but something that we already will have in mind to work towards. So it's always about working with what you need as soon as possible, and then having to work towards things that might need more work and more time and more collaboration across our centers. So this is the process that we decided would help us address all of those different programs that are out across the 4 states and beyond. So what is the coffee chat consultation? When you send us your information, our program manager will contact you and schedule a Zoom coffee chat. At that time, when we meet, we will work with you in our conversation. So the box to the left where it says community needs, we need to identify what they are just by listening to you, and then how we can help you prioritize, and then how we will be able to step in and help you. So that's the overall goal of the coffee chat consultation. But if you look to the right at the top where it says language program profile, one of the things that we'll be asking you at this chat is for you to just tell us about your program. What are you doing? What have you done? Who's involved? the history of it, and then moving towards identifying, program goals. We might all have goals, but how do we put those goals into clear steps to take and a timeline for all those. So this is part of the ways that we can help you during this conversation. And then by the time we finish, we'll be asking you, what is the next first step that we should take to help you? And then finally, what is it that the center can actually provide for you or to your program? And that's what's been happening in our consultation chat. So I'll give you an example. Actually, what I'd like to do here is point out that we've had a number of coffee chat consultations, and there are many, many needs. Many of them are what we already know, what are very common and shared across all tribal efforts, and in particular, those have been focused on teacher preparation and materials. So that's a common thing. The other interesting thing that we found to be common, but it might be one of those gaps that we need to address, is that many of the individuals we spoke to have said that they would really like the leadership to be much more engaged. That is something that we haven't, really, I think we all assumed it, and we've heard it, but we've never really done anything to address those. So that's becoming an important need that we are addressing. And we have already started visioning a way that we can do that. The other need that we have heard and know about as well, but also haven't focused on addressing, is to break down silos, meaning that in a community, oftentimes there are several kinds of programs, maybe school programs, community programs, after-school programs, language camps, but they're not working together. Maybe sometimes they don't even know about each other or what each other is doing. And that seems to be another need that has been expressed to us over and over again, that there needs to be much more work that is done collaboratively in order to make a bigger movement of the work that's already being done. So that's another thing that we are highlighting in terms of going forward and addressing the gaps. So it's been very helpful to have one-on-one conversations with people who are doing the work and representing their tribal programs. The other thing that's really been exciting about that is we actually get to meet the people who are involved in it and know about their work. So that's been another important thing. And actually one of the ways that we are also sharing that is to highlight some of these programs and what they're doing, maybe things that are so creative we never heard of them, and we should share that. So we've been able to start collecting those kinds of stories to put onto our website on newsletter to highlight those kinds of innovations. So in that way, sharing as well, and with other community efforts along the way. Okay, so next, oh dear, what's going on? For some reason, oh, there we go. Okay, so examples of how, what I mean by deliverables, as far as the center being able to provide the service that we've heard about. We've done community workshops already. I've gone out from my background in immersion training, immersion teacher preparation. I've gone out to Tuba City School District to do a presentation, as well as conduct 2 workshops with teachers who are in a school-based program. I will be going and have scheduled to do tribal work or community workshops for the Santo Domingo Pueblo and Isleta Pueblo coming up. So it has been determined through our coffee chats that they need this in particular as the next step in their work. And I'm able to provide that. So this is how we're taking care of that and providing the service. The other way that we are looking at now is to offer workshops and courses at the upcoming ALDI Summer Institute at the University of Arizona. Even though there are other courses that ALDI is offering, I'm specifically focusing here on what the center is doing in that institute this summer. So for the whole of the summer, June 9th through July 10th, Jenny DeGroat and I are offering an oral immersion course. It will be in person, 8 to 11 every day from June 9th through July 10th. Of course, there's 2 holidays that we are aware of in that schedule. So registration is already open for that. And you can go to the website in order to consider looking at what's offered and what you might be interested in taking if you're interested at all in going to the Institute. And then during the Institute, we have 2 additional workshops. So on June 17th and June 18th, Dr. Aresta Sosi Paddock is going to be offering a 2-day workshop on community mentor apprentice program design. So you can see that on day 1, it's an hour longer, and then on the 18th, it's an hour less. And then the last workshop we're offering during the Institute is on June 27th. And Sheilah Nicholas, who is Education Director at Gila River, is facilitating this one from 8 to 5 p.m. On Indigenous early childhood and language revitalization. One of the key things is that more and more of our language efforts are being done in pre-Head Start, or I guess it's called early Head Start, maybe language nests and Head Starts overall. So a focus on working with language teachers who are working with language learners in those early periods of development. So these are some examples of the deliverables we've been able to do immediately in year 2. Going forward into year 4, 3, 4, and 5, we're hoping to see this in a broader sense because we have many individuals in our network who are going to be invited to help us with this work. So how do you again, how to schedule a coffee chat consultation? Fill out that QR code, and we will be asking you these questions and working to help you more specifically in addressing the needs you might have, if it's in training, materials development, or whatever else it needs. At the Aldi Language Institute, there's a lot more work on the linguistic area, maybe dictionary work, and maybe, applications like apps, phone apps, and other things. But those are all other kinds of areas of language efforts that can be tapped into at the Aldi. So you can check into all of those available resources for training in particular if you go to this website. This website will take you to the summer sessions, a description of all the courses that are being offered. And if you will take a look at the left picture where it says West Regional NALRC Vision, you can see up in that little bar, the tab bar, where you'll see about Aldi, you'll see the summer session. That's where you want to go to look at the courses that are being offered. And then over to the far right, you can see the tab West NALRC. If you hit that one, it will take you into a number of resources, contact, other information that we are trying to put on that website in order to help in terms of identifying even things like grants, new stories that are coming up that we've heard about, highlighting programs. That is something that we would like to do using this venue. So if you can get yourself into a routine of checking Aldi, and in particular, these area of the regional center to see what we're doing and what we're up to, I encourage you to do that. The newsletter is currently posted for the January 2025. We will be updating, the newsletters every quarter. So it's not every month, it's every quarter. There should be one coming pretty soon with new information that we have researched and found that we think is important information for all of you to have. So I encourage you to go to that website as often as you can. Outside that, Asqueli, for listening to me and having me be a part of your language preservation boot camp. I hope to hear from you. I hope that we will get contact information from you through the QR code. If you have any questions about that, then please feel free to contact us on the website. We have all that information as well. But have a good evening, have a fun evening being with your language and strengthening it. Asqueli.